Okay. Sam, Thane, and Sparky are all in the tavern waiting for Buzz to get back. They're not really sure exactly how long that's going to take. They've just kind of been stuck in this tavern. Sam's been looking through this book and started to flip the pages. Remember, that book comes out on this book. Everything that Sam wants to know about it. Now, Sam just keeps thinking about random things, about, catching that rabbit and, having that for dinner one night, and then, just random things. And then this is, she flips the page and it says the best way to skin a rabbit and this and that. So, it's just going through the whole thing. And so she just keeps randomly flipping the pages. And Sparky kind of coughed. She turned around and she noticed that Sparky was kind of nudging a little bit on Thane, kind of nudging Thane a little bit. So she decided to go check to see what was happening. When she got down and she was kind of bending down over Thane, she noticed that Thane's dragon legs were starting to take a human form. This is exactly what Harley, the medical wizard, had told her, that as soon as this dagger poison starts wearing off, Thane is going to start changing into human form. Sam doesn't really know what to do with that, but just is very aware that this is going to be happening. Meanwhile, on the ship by the castle, Helene, Brooke, and Ace are loading up as quickly as they can all of the eggs back on the ship, on Jared's ship. They know they've got to get it all in there because these eggs seem to fight a whole lot of the evil when they're hitting evil things. So we want to make sure that not only is there enough eggs on this ship, is that we have enough eggs to share when we catch up with the other ship. They're all excited about it. But what now Brooke has is a jar. Brooke has this jar. And inside the jar is now the octopus ink that she had been looking for. I don't really know exactly what the power of the octopus ink does, but she does, and she was very excited when she found it. She wanted to make sure that she had it before we went into any more battles. That might be interesting to know what octopus ink would do to a wizard. Meanwhile, me, Kamoji, Miss Z, Mello, and Froggy, and Jared, because Jared sold us there, have finally arrived right here. This is the mountainous area, the mountainous realm. Right here in the mountainous realm, there's a cave. And that cave is where Miss V has her lair. This is where we think she has taken Captain Maritza. We've got to rescue Captain Maritza. We get off the boat and we row it towards the island. We leave Jared in charge because Jared is very capable captain over a ship. Jared is watching us leave and head towards the shore. Me, Miss Zena. Mello is following us. as she is a mermaid in the water. We get to the beach. Mello touches her bracelet and changes as she's walking out of the beach with her legs. She has Froggy right here on her shoulder. And I took notice that Froggy just seemed to be a little more mermaid-like, but still very sticky. I don't know how that could be, but Froggy is just having the time of her life sitting on Mello's shoulder. They're very nice companions. And as now we're getting off on shore and we've pulled the boat up onto the beach, and now we start walking. We're walking right here. We're going to try to go around these words and up through this way so that we can get to that cave right there. So the boat's here, we're here, and now we're walking. Me and Kimoji might have to spend the night and then get up in the morning and walk the rest of the way so that we're not too tired. And we want to make sure that we are surprising Miss V. Meanwhile, Maritza, Captain Maritza, in this little bubble on the ground, looking around, seeing some black shards off to the side. It looks like a stack of them. She's never seen that many all at one time. She doesn't know if Oscar would be able to eat all of those at one time. It might do harm to that poor chicken. Maritza looks around some more. She can see a tunnel that goes off that just gets pitch dark. She can hear laughter. She can hear voices coming from that hall, that cave, that extra area over there. She's got to figure out how to get out of this bubble. She takes out her knife and she looks at that knife and she remembers the day she got that knife. She got that knife on her very first ship that she ever sailed on, where she knew that she was going to be an amazing captain of her very own ship. She had gotten this knife from one of her friends that were bunked with her, also knew. She looked at that knife, gives her fond memories, but she knows how to use this knife. She grabs a hold and tries to grab a hold of this rubbery, I don't know, whatever she's concealed in. And she takes her knife and she kind of stabs, tries to rip it, and the knife just seemed to be like a balloon where it wouldn't even go. It just kind of stretched out this ball that she's in. And she's remembering her ball at home that she has that she can make bigger or smaller on her whim. And she thought, I wonder if I could do that with this one. She held out her hands like she'd seen Miss C do. Very dramatic, Maritza, Captain Maritza, pushes her hands out like this and lifts them up. And as she does, the bubble starts to get bigger. She herself starts to get bigger. The bubble is getting bigger, but it's not letting her free. She stopped for a second realized that she had just made herself 3 times the size she was before. Maybe even slightly bigger than she was before. She thinks to herself, and she remembers in her pocket, she has a seashell. It's not just any ordinary seashell. She reaches it out, and she remembers this seashell. She got this seashell from her friend Mello. Mello had gone down all the way to the bottom of the ocean and found this beautiful seashell. And when Maritza, Captain Maritza, when she gave her this seashell, Captain Maritza took off her necklace and gave it to Mello. And that was the necklace that had the box with the key that's now sitting in Maritza's office that has a cocoon in it. Captain Maritza looks down, smiles at the memory that she has about the shell. But she knows that this shell, she could probably push it through this rubber. I don't know why she thinks that, but she believes in magic. And so she looked at this shell. She got over to the rubber ball part that she's stuck in. She pushes on it, and she takes the edge of that seashell, and it starts cutting through the rubber. She doesn't know what made her think of that, but look, she just keeps cutting all the way down. She opens it up and steps out, feeling very tall because she is slightly taller than before. She could hear Miss V. Ha 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 ha! Miss V laughing. Oh, they'll never know. They'll never know. I've got them good. She thinks that Miss V might be a little not all there. Why is she so angry with us? What have we done to her? Why does she not like Miss Z? Captain Maritza looks along the wall and sees some of those glass jars that have all of the little creatures from the underwater realm all along this one shelf. She starts to take some to put them in her pocket. She knows she needs to rescue these creatures. She gets about 6 or 7 in her pocket. And all of a sudden, it was really quiet in the cave. The hairs on the back of her neck started to tingle. She was almost scared to turn around. Meanwhile, back at the Rock People, Buzz is in with the Rock King, and they're talking about the very, very first writing ever written. Buzz didn't know that it was dragon writing that was the first writing. She has a book that she needs information from, and she doesn't really know how to find out this information because it's written in dragon. She doesn't know if she would have patience enough to sit and try to read a book with her dragon eyes. She thanked the king of the rock people, took the book, said, "I'll probably be back," walked out of his hut, took a few steps, changed into a dragon, and started to fly back to the tavern. Here's the tavern. Here's the Rock King. She's now flying across over here. And as she's flying, she notices Jared's ship over at the castle. And she thought to herself, I wonder what's going on. She's been out of touch with everyone for a few days. They've been trying to heal Thane. This is the tavern. Buzz decides, I'm going to go and find out fighting when you guys were fighting. So they decided that it would be a good idea to load up the ship with eggs, enough for both ships. And Buzz said, well, where is everybody? Helene said, they all took the other ship over to the mountain realm. They're going to go confront Miss V in her lair. Buzz got a very nauseous feeling in her stomach. She thought, they don't have any dragons at all. Not one dragon to help them. I mean, granted, Miss Z is the most powerful wizard in all the 7 realms, but she still is not a dragon. At that moment, Buzz said to Helene, I need you to hold this book for me. Make sure nothing happens to it. I would even tell you to hide it. Helene took that responsibility very seriously and said, you bet. I've got the perfect place for it. Buzz then took a few steps, turned into a dragon, and started to fly to the mountain realm. So Buzz is flying over to the mountain realm. She's flying. She now is seeing, she can see me and Kimoji and Miss Z all walking around. She flaps her arms and comes down, and Miss Z turns around and said, my friend, how is everything? How is Thane? Buzz said, I found the book, but I can't read it. It says, I took it to the Rock King. The Rock King said it's been written in a dragon language. I didn't write this book. Miss Z kind of smiled at Buzz and said, I can help you read it. But we have to rescue Captain Maritza. And it's about time that they stop for the night because they want to be ready to battle in the morning. Me and Kimoji got the little fire going, and we've got our blankets out, and we're sitting around and we're talking. This is the first time I've ever really got to share a meal with Buzz and Miss Z. And as I watch them talking to each other, I can tell that they've been friends for a really long time. You remember that time you hear one of them say, and the other one laughs, and then you hear, oh yes, it was a simpler time where magic was so free and people just wanted to live. And they stayed up pretty late. I fell asleep. I don't know what Kamoji did. I heard her get up and wander off. I woke up in the morning, Kamoji right there, Buzz and Miss Z sitting next to each other. I think they didn't even sleep. And now they've decided that they have a plan. And what they'd like us to do is me and Kamoji, and I told them I'm not very fast, but me and Kamoji are going to go to the cave. And what we're going to do is we're going to attack it from the side with rocks. We're just going to throw rocks. And what we're going to do is we're going to get Miss V to come out of the cave. And once we get her to come out of the cave and have her chase us, they're going to go in and get Captain Maritza. Now, I think it's a good plan. I have Kamoji next to me. Kamoji, who is so agile and so amazing, such a ninja squirrel. And I know that for every 2 or 3 of the rocks that I throw, she will have thrown 10 or 20 because she is that fast and agile. So what we did was we gathered a whole bunch of rocks and we put them right here. Me and Kamoji on the other side of this hill started to throw rocks. Kamoji had the bigger rocks because, she was just doing it with her magic, picking up the rocks and just throwing them 1 and 2 at a time. You could hear the banging and the boom of the rocks and the boom and the boom. My goodness, I was holding my breath. Kamoji got down. I'm telling you, fast as lightning, went around to the other side of the cave so that she could look in to see why no one's coming out. And as she got around to one side of the cave, before she was able to climb up, I could see a shadow coming out of that cave. Oh no, Kamoji, I'm thinking. Hide, Kamoji. Kamoji slips in behind a rock. I could see her looking around, watching. A big old cape person comes out, got the hood over. I think it's Miss V. I have a rock ready. I don't know why we think we're going to be able to defeat her. I throw the rock. Kamoji jumps on her, tackles her down. We were supposed to run. She was supposed to chase us. And as soon as Kamoji jumped on top, it was Captain Maritza. What had happened in that cave? What had happened in that cave? Maritza said, Kamoji, get off me! Dude, bro! Kamoji starts chuckling. Dude, we're coming to get you! Maritza said, I could hear something down the tunnel, and then it stopped. I think there's another exit out, and I felt like somebody was behind me. But it was a broom. I know there was a broom on the wall, but it wasn't anything. It was just a broom. I had retrieved all of the 100 creatures. They're in my pocket. We need to get them as quick as we can down to the underwater realm. Mello will be able to take those as quick as she can. I look at Maritza and I say, is everything okay? Maritza says, we should go back in the cave. I'm a little nervous. I could feel a little burp coming up that's not a pleasant one. I don't want to go in that cave. I've seen things that Miss V does with her cauldron. I see the things that she creates. I guess let's go in the cave. We've got to find out what's going on in this cave. Me, Kimoji, and Maritza all go in the cave. Buzz and Miss Z are confused because they're watching the whole thing. Buzz flies down to purple and just so sad. You can feel the life want to be sucked out of you. You can feel the desperation, the smell of this funk in her cave. We all look at each other. We have to search it out. We need to find out what else might be in this cave. I do have my magic satchel. Maritza says, come over here. Look down there. And in this clear jar sits about 10 of those black shards. Miss V has been collecting them too. It doesn't have a lid. I'm not really sure what to do with it. We're not allowed to touch the black shards. I only know that Oscar can eat one shard at a time. And then we have to wait before Oscar can eat another shard. I take the bowl of shards and I open up my satchel and I look at Oscar. Oscar pops his head up, looks at what's in the bowl, takes the first one, gobbles it down. I move the bowl because I don't know what's going to happen. Oscar goes back in and lays down. We know that an egg is going to be coming out. Hopefully it'll be a blue egg, but it might be a black egg. I take the rest of these shards and I'm just going to have to carry them. I'm not really sure about putting them in the satchel. What happens if they fall out? What happens if Oscar eats them all? I'm looking at the bowl. The next thing I know, I hear, "Ah! Run!" I almost dropped the bowl. I started running towards the entrance. It was Buzz. Buzz is shooting out a lot of flame towards that bottom part. Run! Run! Heck yeah. You gotta run! This whole thing. What?